Very good morning to all of you. Actually, in my previous video, we had solved some question paper problems in connection with classification of accounts. We solved 2018 question paper problem, 2016 question paper problem. I think we have solved 2014 repeaters question paper problem. So you people may get one 5 mark question on classification of accounts. So as far as account is concerned, till today, we have discussed what is the meaning of account. We discussed what are the types of accounts. Later, we discussed what are the rules, debit and credit rules of those accounts. Later, we discussed how to apply those golden rules of accounting, how to apply those golden rules of accounting. So that application of golden rules of accounting, or you can say classification of account, these all are based for journal, and with an intention to solve problems on journal in a very easy way, I made you people to become perfect with classification of account and application of golden rules of accounting. Whatever we have studied till today in connection with account, that is types of account and classification of account, that is certain examples, and application of debit and credit rules of accounting, that all is related to journal, or you can say it is a base for solving problems on journal. It is a base for solving problems on journal. So today we are going to begin with new topic called. So today we will discuss what is the meaning of journal, then what is the meaning of journalizing, what is the meaning of journal entry, what are the features of journal, features or you can say characteristic of journal. Then later we'll discuss what are its advantages and disadvantages. Later we'll see the format of this particular journal. So first, let's see what is the meaning of journal. Actually, we had discussed about accounting cycle, and many times I use a term called journal and ledger. In accounting cycle, we will find five phases. We will find five phases. The first phase is business transaction. Second phase is journal, followed by ledger, which is a third phase. And fourth one is trial balance. And fifth one is preparation of final account. So we already done with that first phase of accounting cycle, that is accounting transaction, or you can say business transaction. We studied what is the meaning of transaction. We have studied all the basic aspects in connection with business transactions. So today we'll start with second phase of accounting cycle, that is journal. First of all, the word journal, it is a French word. It is a French word. So in French, the term journal, or you can say journal, is derived from French word which is called as jour. Jour is nothing but on a day-to-day basis, on a day-to-day basis, or you can say on continuous basis, up to date is nothing but jour, is nothing but jour. So here journal is nothing but recording the transactions on a day-to-day basis or on continuous basis. That one is called as what? That one is called as journal. Here in business, thousands of transactions will take place every day. So on continuous basis, we need to record those all transactions in a book. That particular book is called as journal. So journal is nothing but recording transactions on a day-to-day basis or on a daily basis is called as what? Is called as journal. So let's see what is the exact meaning of journal. Journal, it is a book. What it is? It is a book in which day-to-day business transactions are recorded in chronological order. In chronological order. If it comes to journal, you people need to keep in mind two key terms. One is day-to-day basis and another one is chronological order. Here, day-to-day basis means continuously we need to record transactions in a books of account. Then chronological order is nothing but on date wise, we need to record the business transactions. In sequence, we need to record the business transactions. That one is called as chronological order. So journal is a book in which day-to-day transactions are recorded in chronological order. In chronological order. That particular book is known as what? It is known as journal. Actually, it is a book of prime entry, meaning if any of the business transactions are taken place, first we record those business transactions in the book of journal. And after we will record it in the book of ledger, then it will go to trial balance. Then later it will go to final account. That is the reason we called this particular book as a book of prime entry, or we will call it as a book of original entry. Prime means what? First. Original is nothing but base. Understood? So first we will record transaction in the book of journal. That is the reason we call it as a book of prime entry or book of original entry. So once again, we'll see the meaning of journal. Journal is a book. There will be a number of books like journal, ledger, subsidiary books, cash books. So journal is a book in which day-to-day transactions are recorded in a chronological order. That particular book is known as what? It is known as journal. What is the meaning of chronological order? In a sequence, date-wise, in the order of occurrence of the transactions, we need to record. We need to record. That is what? That is chronological order. So it is all about what is the meaning of journal. Let us move to next element, that is a journalizing. Journalizing. See here, journal is a book. It is a book in which we are going to record transaction in a very systematic manner. So the process of recording transaction, in the book of journal is called as journalizing. The process of recording business transaction in a journal is known as what? It is known as journalizing. See here, we are not supposed to record transactions as we want, or we are not supposed to follow our own procedures in recording business transactions in the book of journal. There is some definite procedure, there is some definite process for recording business transaction in the book of journal. That particular process is called as what? It is called as journalizing. So journalizing is a procedure, or it is a process of recording business transactions in the book of journal. That particular process or procedure is called as what? Is called as journalizing. Then the next term is a journal entry. These all are 2 mark important questions. They may ask questions like, what do you mean by journal? What do you mean by journalizing? And what do you mean by journal entry? Now, the next term is a journal entry. What is a journal entry? The transaction that is recorded in the book of journal. The transaction that is recorded in the book of journal is known as journal entry. Is known as journal entry. See here, there will be a book and we will follow certain procedure for recording that particular transaction in a book. So once we entered a transaction in the book of journal, then that particular transaction will become what? It will become a journal entry. So journal entry is nothing but the transaction that is recorded, or the transaction which is recorded in the book of journal is known as what? Is known as journal entry. Actually, in journal entry, you will find two parts. It means journal entry, it split accounting transaction into debit part and credit part. Journal, it splits the accounting transactions into two parts like debit part and credit part. We'll discuss about it later. So hope you people understood the meaning of journal, journalizing and journal entry. Journal is a book in which day-to-day transactions are recorded. Journalizing is a process of recording business transaction in the book of journal, and journal entry is the transaction that is recorded in the book of journal is known as journal entry. So three important elements: journal, journalizing and journal entry. You people may find any one question for 2 marks at the time of your examination. Now let's see what are the features or what are the characteristics of this journal. The first characteristic is, as I told you people, the word journal is derived from French word called jour. Jour is nothing but on a day-to-day basis. So the main feature of journal is on a daily basis, we will deal with this particular book. On daily basis, on continuous basis, we will deal with this particular book. It is the only book in which transactions are recorded on a daily basis. In remaining books like ledger, subsidiary books, even subsidiary book also we will record transactions on a daily basis, because subsidiary books are actually substitute to journal. You can take example of ledger account, you can take example of trial balance. There we are going to record transactions on periodical basis. Like in ledger, we will record transactions once in a 15 days or once in a month. But if it comes to journal, we record transactions on a daily basis. So the first feature of journal is it is a book where transactions are recorded on a daily basis. On a daily basis. Here transactions are recorded every day. That is the first feature. Then what is the second feature of journal? I told you people that if it comes to journal, you should keep in mind two key terms. One is on a day-to-day basis and another one is chronological order. So it is a book in which transactions are recorded in chronological order. Transactions are recorded in chronological order, meaning here we are going to record transactions in sequence in the order of occurrence of transaction. Understood? So that is the second feature of journal. Here we are going to record transactions in a chronological order. That is nothing but in a sequence on a date basis. Okay. Then third feature is already I told you people about this. Journal is a book of prime entry. It is a book of original entry, meaning if any of the transactions are taken place in business, first we record those transactions in the book of journal. First, we record those transactions in the book of journal. Later, it will go to ledger. That is the reason we call journal as a book of prime entry. Prime is nothing but first. Journal is nothing but it is a book of original entry, meaning first we record transaction in the book of journal. Journal is a base for what? Further books of account. Understood? That is the third feature. And fourth feature is this particular book divides or classifies transaction into debit side and credit side, or it splits transaction into debit part and credit part. While taking examples, you will get to know how it will classifies the transactions into debit and credit. Okay. Then one more very important feature of journal is it provides clear explanation, or you can say it provides brief explanation about every business transaction. Meaning, we will record transaction in the book of journal. Once we went to that particular transaction, I mean, once we went to through journal entry, we'll get to know which account is debited and which account is credited, and why particular account is debited and particular account is credited. Understood? So this particular book, it provides clear explanation about each and every business transaction. It states which account is debited and which account is credited, and why particular account is debited and why particular account is credited. Understood? So it provides brief explanation for each and every business transaction. Then one more important feature of journal is it is a base. It is a base for preparation of ledger accounts. I was telling you people, it is a book of original entry. It is a base for further books of accounts. So this particular book is base for preparation of ledger account. Keep in mind, journal is base for ledger. Ledger is base for trial balance. And trial balance is base for what? It is base for final account. It is interdependent process. Understood? Ledger accounts are always depending on journal entries. Trial balance is always depending upon ledger account, and final accounts are always depending upon trial balance. So these are six important features or characteristics of journal. First of all, journal is a book in which transactions are recorded on a day-to-day basis, and here transactions are recorded in chronological order, and it is a book of original entry or prime entry. It classifies transactions into debit and credit, and it gives brief explanation for each and every business transaction. And last one is it is a base for preparation of ledger accounts. So these are six important features or characteristics of journal. Now, let us move to next important aspect, that is what are the advantages, what is the need, or what are the objectives behind preparation of journal, why companies need to prepare journal. These are four important objectives or advantages why companies will prepare journal or companies will pass journal entries. The major advantage is here, we will record transactions on a daily basis. By that, we can avoid mistakes or we can avoid errors in accounting practice. Meaning, if you are recording business transactions on periodical basis, then you need to record huge transactions. Understood? And there will be a chances of skipping of business transactions, or there will be a chances of committing certain mistakes, or there will be a certain errors. Understood? So journal won't give such scope. It will not give scope for such kind of things. Like it will not give scope for ignoring of business transactions. It will not give scope for committing mistakes at the time of recording business transactions. Understood? So the major advantage is here we are going to record transactions on daily basis. We will record transactions on up to date basis. Then second advantage is complete records at one place, which means once you went through journal entry, you will get complete picture. You will get a clear picture about business transaction. That particular journal entry gives you information about which account is debited and which account is credited, and what is the reason why particular account is debited and why particular account is credited. It gives brief information about a transaction at one place itself. Once you went through journal, you will get to know that what all transactions you have undertaken and why a particular account is debited, why particular account is credited. You will get clear picture at one place in the book of journal. Then as I told you people, since we are going to record transactions on a daily basis, on continuous basis, it avoids mistakes. There will not be scope for errors in accounts. The next one is already we discussed about it. See here, without journal, it is very much difficult to prepare ledger accounts. And even though you prepared ledger account without preparing journal, then there will be a chances of mistakes or errors in accounting practice. So that is the reason always journal is base for ledger. It is nothing but fourth one basis for posting. Posting is nothing but recording transactions in the book of ledger is called as posting. Recording transactions in the book of journal is known as journalizing. So always journal is a base for what it is base for posting. So these are four important advantages of journal. Now let us go to the drawbacks or disadvantages of this journal. What are the disadvantages? What are the drawbacks? See here, as I told you people, journal is a book of prime entry where we are going to record transactions on day-to-day basis, on continuous basis. See here, maintaining this journal is not so easy. It is time consuming because every day, thousands of transactions will take place with business. Every day, thousands of transactions will take place with business. So, as per journal, we need to record all thousands of transactions in the books of accounts, which is time consuming. Meaning, preparation of journal it takes lots of time. We need to spend enough time to maintain a book called journal. Then the second great drawback of this journal is it is quite expensive. It is not economic, which means here we are going to record each and every transactions on a day-to-day basis in the book of journal, for which we need to appoint more number of accountants, for which we need to appoint more number of accountants, which is expensive to business, Then third one is also one of the major drawback. Actually, here we are ready to spend time for recording business transaction in the book of journal. At the same time, we are ready to spend money for recording transactions in the book of journal. But to after spending too much time and too much money, we cannot ascertain the final result of the business with the help of journal. In simple words, it will not provide final result of the business even after spending enough time and money. That is also one of the great drawback of journal. Then the last drawback of this journal is This is only suitable to small firms. It is not suitable to large firms. Understood? Because in large firms, every day thousands of transactions are going to take place, and recording such thousands of transactions in the book of a company becomes very difficult task, becomes very difficult task. So it is only suitable to small scale firms or micro industries. It is not suitable to large scale industries where every day large number of transactions will take place. So it is all about what? It is all about meaning of journal, journalizing and journal entry. And we also discussed about what are the features or characteristics of journal, what are the advantages and disadvantages of journal. Now let us move to the next important part, that is pro forma of journal. Pro forma is nothing but format of journal. See here, we were discussing about a term called journalizing. Journalizing is nothing but process of recording transactions in the book of journal. There is certain procedure for recording transactions in the book of journal is called as what? Is called as journalizing. So that procedure, that format is here. Here in the pro forma of journal, we will find five columns. How many columns we will find? Five columns we will find. Here, first column is a date. Second column is particulars. Third column is LF, it is ledger folio. And fourth column is a debit. And fifth column is credit. Debit is actually symbolically represented as DR, that is capital D and small r. And credit is symbolically represented as CR, that is capital C and small r. So, in the format of journal or in the pro forma of journal, we will find five columns. Let's see that what we need to write in these five columns. Here, first column is a date. What is column number one? Column number one is a date. See here, it is a column which is meant for recording date of the transaction. It is a column in which we are going to record date of the transaction, and we are going to write those dates in chronological order. In order, in sequence, we need to write the date of the transaction. Understood? So first column is meant for what? First column is meant for recording the date of the transaction. In which order? In chronological order. That particular column is known as date column. Okay. Now here second column is particulars column. Which column? Particulars column. See here, in particulars column, in the first line, you people have to write the name of the account is debited. What we need to write? In the first line of particulars column, we should write the name of the account is debited. And in the second line, we should write the name of the account is credited. As we all know, in every business transaction, there will be two accounts. In that, one account will be debited and another account will be credited. So the account which is debited should be written in first line. In which column? In particulars column. And in the second line, we should write the name of the account is credited. We have to write the name of the account is credited using word called to. So in particulars column, first in the first line, we'll write the name of the account is debited. In the second line, we will write the name of the account is credited using word called to. And in the third line, in bracket, we need to write the short summary of that transaction. We need to write what? We need to write the short summary of that particular transaction, which starts with the being. So in first line, you will write the name of the account is debited. In the second line, you will write the name of the account is credited. In the third line, in bracket, we should write narration. Narration is nothing but summary of the transaction. And that narration starts with being. That narration starts with being. We'll take one example. Machinery purchased for cash. Machinery purchased for cash. Which are the two accounts? Two accounts are machinery account and cash account. Understood? Both are real account. Machinery account. Machinery is asset. It is real account. Cash is asset. It is also real account. Understood? So here, what is the rule of real account? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So since both are real accounts, What comes into the business should be debited. What goes out of the business should be credited. So machinery purchased for cash means machinery comes in cash, goes out. So machinery account should be debited and cash account should be credited. So in a second column, in journal, that is in particulars column, in the first line, we should write the name of the account is debited. So here machinery account is debited. So we should write machinery account debit. Which account is credited? Cash account is credited. So in the second line, we should write two and we should write the name of the account is credited. I told you people know in the second line, we should write the name of the account is credited using word called to. And in the next line, in the third line, we should write the narration and that narration should be written in bracket and that narration actually starts with being. For example, in this example, machinery purchased for cash, narration will be in bracket being machinery purchased for cash. By that, will get to know why particular account is credited and why particular account is credited. Understood? Yes. And after writing narration, we need to draw a parallel line below that particular narration. Below that particular narration. And that parallel line must be restricted only to that particular column. It should not be extended to date column and even to ledger folio or debit or credit column. So after recording transaction in the book of journal, you need to draw a parallel line to a particular column. So in the first line of particular column, we are going to write the name of the account is debited. In the second line, we are going to write the name of the account is credited using word called to, that is capital T and small o. Then in the third column, sorry, in the third line, we are going to write the narration. That narration should be written in bracket and it starts with being. Understood? So being machinery purchased for cash. And after writing narration, we need to draw a parallel line below that narration. It indicates that that particular transaction is completed. Okay. So first column is date, second column is particulars. Here third column is for LF. LF stands for what? Ledger folio. See here, as I told you people, journal is base for ledger. Journal is base for ledger. So here we are going to take transaction from journal and we are going to record it in ledger. So once you done this particular task, immediately you should write the page number of ledger folio in the book of journal. Meaning here ledger folio, it is nothing but page number of the ledger where that particular entry is posted. Here journal is based for ledger. So from journal we will post entry to ledger. Understood? So in journal we should write the page number of the ledger account where that particular entry is posted. That is what, that is third column ledger folio. Then here fourth column is for debit amount and fifth column is for credit amount. Understood? So in the fourth column, in the first line, parallel to the name of the account is debited, we need to write the amount. See here, in particulars column, in the first line, we'll write the name of the account is debited. So in the fourth column, that is in debit column, we should write the amount for that particular transaction. Understood? So here, in this column, the amount of transaction is written opposite to the name of the account is debited. Understood? So in the second column, in the first line, you will write the name of the account is debited. Parallel to that, in a debit column, you should write the amount. Then fifth column is meant for credit amount. Actually, fourth and fifth column is meant for recording amount of the transaction. In the fourth column, you should write the amount parallel to the name of the account is debited and their credit column will be nil. And in the fifth column, you should write the amount parallel to the name of the account is credited. So fourth column is nil and you need to write amount in fifth column, that is credit column. So in credit column, in this column, the amount of the transaction is written opposite to the name of the account is credited. Yeah, in my next class, I am going to take certain examples. I am going to solve some question paper problems in connection with the journal. At that time, you will understand how we should write the amount, how we should write the narration and all. all. So as we all know that there are 5 columns in journal. Here, first column is meant for recording date of the transaction in chronological order. Second column is particulars column. Here in first line, we should write the name of the account is debited. In the second line, we should write the name of the account is credited. In the third line, we should write narration, and that narration starts with being. Understood? Okay, later we need to draw a parallel line to that particulars column. Then third column is meant for ledger folio. Here we are going to write the page number of the ledger account, from page number of the ledger account where that particular journal entry is recorded. Then debit column is meant for recording the amount parallel to the name of the account is debited, and credit column is meant for recording the amount parallel to the name of the account is credited. It is about pro forma or format of journal. So these are 5 columns. Okay. Yeah. While discussing about format of journal, I used certain terms like narration, and even I said something about posting, something about posting. These are also very important 2 mark questions, very important 2 mark questions. Here, they may ask you people question like, what do you mean by narration? What do you mean by posting? So let's see what is the meaning of narration and what is the meaning of posting. Actually, narration, it comes in particulars column. In particulars column, first in the first line we'll write the name of the account is debited. In the second line we will write the name of the account is credited. After that, in the third line, in bracket we are going to write some brief summary about the transaction, some explanation, some brief explanation about the transaction. That particular explanation is called as what? It is called as narration. So what is the exact meaning of narration? Narration, it is a brief summary or short summary of the transaction which explains why particular account is debited and why particular account is credited. Understood? It is a summary, brief summary of the transaction which explains why particular account is debited and why particular account is credited. Or in other words, it is a short explanation about why particular account is debited, why particular account is credited. That short explanation or brief summary is known as what? It is known as a narration. Narration is nothing but summary. It is nothing but explanation that in the first line of particulars column, we are written name of the account is debited. In the second line, we are written the name of the account is credited. So in the third line, we should give them some explanation saying that why particular account is debited and why particular account is credited. That particular explanation or short summary is known as what? It is known as narration. And keep in mind, without writing narration, your journal entry will not complete. Without writing narration, our journal entry will not complete. Okay. Now, let us move to one more very important term which may come for 2 marks. That is, what is the meaning of posting? What is the meaning of posting? What is posting? See here. Actually, recording transaction in the book of journal is known as journalizing. Similarly, the process of transferring the entries from the book of journal to the book of ledger is known as what? It is known as posting. Here, first we record transaction in the book of journal. From journal, we'll take that particular transaction to ledger. We are going to shift that transaction to ledger. That particular shifting process is called as what? It is called as posting. So what is posting? Posting is nothing but it is a process of transferring the entries from journal to the respective ledger account. To the respective account in the book of ledger is known as what? It is known as posting. The name itself, it indicates post, meaning take it from ledger and record it in, sorry, take it from journal and record it in ledger account. That particular process is known as what? It is known as posting. So it is all about what? It is all about journal. In my next class or in my next video, I will take some question paper problems, because every year there will be one 10-mark question on journalizing. There will be one or two 2-mark questions like what do you mean by journal, journalizing, journal entry, narration, posting, and all. There may be one 5-mark question like what is the difference between journal and ledger. And sure shot there will be one 10-mark problem on journal, that is they will give 10 transactions and they will ask you people to pass the journal entry. So in my next video I will come up with some question paper problems and will pass the journal entry for those question paper problems. So it is all about journal. Yeah, once again we'll recall it in 2 minutes. Actually, we all know that the term journal is derived from French word called jour, which means day-to-day basis. On daily basis, we need to record transactions in a book. That particular book is known as what? It is known as journal. So journal is a book in which day-to-day transactions are recorded in chronological order. The next one is journalizing. It is a process of recording business transactions in the book of journal. What is the meaning of journal entry? The transaction that is recorded, excuse me, the transaction that is recorded in the book of journal is called as what? It is called as journal entry. Next one is, these are some of the important features. In meaning itself you will find two features. One is on day to day basis, second one is chronological order, third one is, we all know that it is a book of rhyme entry, and here it splits accounts into debit and credit. In format I was telling you people, in particulars column in first line we should write the name of the account is debited, in the second line we should write the name of the account is credited. So it is how journal classifies the transactions into debit and credit. Then in narration it gives brief explanation about each and every business transaction, and it becomes a base for preparation of ledger. So these are some of the important features or characteristics of journal. Later these are certain advantages and these are certain disadvantages of journal, which they may ask for 2 marks, like state the advantages, state any two advantages of journal, state any two drawbacks of journal, or they may ask for 5 marks, like explain the advantages and disadvantages of journal. Then later we discussed about this pro forma, where 5 columns are there. Like first one is date, second one is particulars, third column is meant for ledger folio, fourth column is amount column, that is for debit, and fifth column is also amount column, that is for credit. Yes, like this 5 columns will come, and it is all about narration and posting. What is narration? It is a short explanation for each and every business transaction. It is a short summary of the transaction which states why particular account is debited and why particular account is credited. What is the meaning of posting? Posting is nothing but recording the transactions from journal to ledger, or it is a process of transferring the transactions from the journal to the respective ledger account, to the respective accounts in the book of ledger, is called as what? Is called as posting. So it is all about journal. In my next video, we'll take certain examples. We'll take certain examples in connection with journal. In connection with journal.